Hello there, folks. I'm here in our front yard, and quite sad news here. My Chamaerops humilis, someone suggested recently that I should cut into it, which is obviously definitely what I should have done, because it was, not pushing out any growth, and the cavity, there was clearly a big cavity there where the spear had pulled out. So, I started cutting into the trunk, and sure enough, I mean, you guys can see that, but totally, you can see it coming out of the other sucker there, but that is a painful, painful sight. And, this is really sad because this is my first palm. You can see all the dead leaves I had to trim away. I had some hope that maybe there was live tissue down there, but really, I mean, at this point, it was just been brown for so long. When it first got spear pull, the fronds were still mostly green. I was somewhat hopeful that at least the suckers would recover. Some of the suckers were still green, even the spear. But sure enough, this palm unfortunately kicked the bucket, and I cut it open, and yeah, painful sight. But losing palms is part of the experience, and yeah, it's sorry, that's just my my COVID. I'm kind of sniffly, but anyways, losing palms in a cold climate, I wouldn't say, obviously, if you're already an expert somehow before you start growing, then maybe you know everything what to do. But I'd say that almost certainly if you grow palms for long enough in a colder climate, of course, you're gonna have some losses. There's certainly a lot of species that I've underestimated here. This is one of these species that I very much think I underestimated a lot at first, and then I overestimated a lot. And there are some that make it here without protection. There are some that make it here just with simple C9 Christmas lights. I should have at least wrapped it at the bare minimum. And also, I'm told the Cerifera form is hardy. Some people say Cerifera is less hardy in a wet winter climate, but it seems to indicate the opposite. Cerifera survived in Wichita, Kansas, the 2021 cold blast, which literally killed Chamaerops all the way down in San Antonio, way down in Texas. Killed Chamaerops. That freeze spared a Chamaerops humilis cerifera. It was covered under a bank of snow, and it survived, I think, -17 Fahrenheit under that bank of snow. So that's pretty insane, unprotected. So I think even in a wet climate, and obviously it's a bit drier than here, but I think Cerifera still probably is hardier from what I've heard, and I've never grown one. So I would like to try Cerifera. I also maybe would have done better if it were in a sheltered spot, because this is obviously, it's nice and sunny here. It's not sunny today, but it's a sunny spot. It's one of the sunny spots in my yard, so I thought maybe that'd be good for it since they're sun-loving palms, but they need all the protection they can get here. I really should have put it up against the wall or something where I originally had it. And yeah, as I mentioned, this is my first palm. I bought it, I think, 2 summers ago. So it was a very special palm to me, and I never bought it with the intention of planting it here. Someone suggested that I should. I wanted to, and I could have, had I protected it, it would have definitely done obviously better. But I really wish, I could have made it. I had originally intended to buy it because I didn't have any palms at the time. 2 summers ago, I was just getting into palms, and I always love them, but I was just getting into learning the species. And I saw it at the local plant store. It was like $80 or something. It was crazy expensive, but it was, my first palm. I thought, I've saved up a lot, it's worth it. So I bought it, and I had the intention of just saving it in a pot, leaving it in a pot till I moved to a warmer climate, which in retrospect, maybe I should have done. But no, I mean, it's definitely, it's incredibly sad. And just because, losing palms may be part of the process doesn't mean it's not sad to lose palms. It's a learning experience, certainly. And I guess you could say I'm glad that I know better now, but I'm very sad to have lost it. My saw and everything, I just cut it open. It's a painful sight. And yeah, I mean, look, I learned 2 things here, maybe more than 2, but I'll go over what I learned. Sort of, you can use my lessons as a takeaway, I guess, from my mistakes. But first of all, I learned, people overestimate and underestimate palms, and obviously that's just a general statement. It's true for anything, but don't, in a cold climate, certainly definitely don't. I think it's better to underestimate a palm than overestimate, obviously, because if you underestimate it and give it extra protection, that's not going to hurt it. Overestimating, not giving any protection, and again, it was looking great up until, I think into January is when it was spear pulled. I guess my advice, just definitely better to underestimate than overestimate. I think that I don't know. I mean, just you gotta use the data. Yeah, I guess I learned three things. You know, don't overestimate it, because that can lead to death. Second of all, use the data online. You know, 50 years ago, you know, people knew almost nothing about growing palms, and especially like in cold climates, people knew nothing about, you know, how to properly take care of palms. So that was sort of when experimenting, I mean, people experimented for a while, but that was sort of when it, I guess you could say, origins of the modern hardy palm growing craze. And then nowadays with the internet and everything, you know, we have so much knowledge at our fingertips that I definitely should have used more, and that I continue. I mean, I use it all the time, but you know, go on Palm Talk. There's chances are someone's written a forum about growing Chamaerops humilis or growing whatever palm you're growing in the exact same climate as you. People post videos of Chamaerops humilis in the DC area. People in my YouTube videos comment about palms, Chamaerops that they have in the DC area. There are a breadth of information about growing Chamaerops specifically in the DC area. Most people do protect theirs, and also there's you know, about just about any palm anywhere, Cincinnati, anywhere. So yeah, just use the information that's available to you on the internet. And yeah, the third thing that I learned is what was I going to say? Yeah, you know, palms, as is true with many other plants, very true with my eucalyptus. My eucalyptus, you know, still, I don't know, it hasn't shown any growth yet. That's kind of strange. I would have expected, but you can see where I scratched it. Still very much alive looking, still tender tissue, and also still very much smells, you know, got that very strong eucalyptus smell. So it's really weird, but I would have expected some new growth by now. Keep you guys updated on that. I'm not going to cut it back just yet. But palms, as with any other plants, but specifically palms, can take a while to show damage, a long time. You know, my palm, when I pulled the spear out, it probably already had damage for a little while. And again, the fronds look green for probably another month, maybe even another few weeks at least. And I thought it had a chance of recovering, and I'm sure it did. And maybe, you know, a lot of, I guess I'll add a fourth thing onto this, but anyways, what I was saying there is that, you know, just, you know, if a palm looks fine after spear pull, you know, just recognize they could take time to show up damage, and also recognize that, like, ahead of time, if you just went through like 12 or I don't know, however cold, if you went through temperatures that can potentially damage or kill a palm, and it's like a few days later and you're like, oh, it looks fine, it must be great, maybe I won't protect it at all, don't make that mistake, because it can look fine, you know, weeks after, and then spear pull months later. You know, it can completely defoliate and die later. And the flip side of that is that it can also take a while to show recovery. You know, a palm like that was completely dead back. My Chamaerops got spear pull last year, and then it recovered. So, you know, you could think a palm's dead, and then by summer, it starts recovering. You know, some of the palms in Texas that got taken out, like some of the Washingtonia robusta in Houston, for example, my dad was down there recently, so showed me some pictures. Some of them were just starting to get their crowns back, like literally just a couple fronds from last year's cold blast, you know, now well over a year ago. So they can take a while to show recovery as well. Sadly, mine, unfortunately, just died. But yeah, it's just something you got to keep in mind. And what was I going to say? Oh yeah, the fourth thing is that, and I have a book. I got it recently. The book Palms Won't Grow Here and Other Myths. Anyone in colder climate, and I'd even say anyone in a warmer climate, because it's just a great all-around book. But especially for people in colder climates, I'd say zone 8 and below. I mean, anywhere, but you know, especially people growing palms in colder climates, you have to get this book. It is the all-around resource. I'd heard about it for a while. Someone finally suggested I get it, so I did. And I just can't put it down. It's a fantastic book. It goes into all the methods of protection that you'll ever need. It has literally a whole chapter on hardy palms, and then other chapters on other exotic plants as well. And it details protection, and for every single species. It's got Chamaerops humilis, you know, Trichycarpus fortunae, sable minor needle palm, saw palmetto, Chamaerops, also every hardy palm species just about. You know, so it's a great book, and it was mentioning how, you know, I forget exactly how he put it, but Franco, David Franco, the guy who wrote the book, he's at Zone 6A at a university in Ohio, Miami University of Ohio in Ohio. So he's Zone 6A, quite a cool climate, and he has a whole hardy palm plot there, and where he grows hardy palms and other exotic plants. And he was talking about that, you know, like the temperature that kills a palm, or what kills a palm is, you know, it can be very subjective, because often what'll kill it is if it gets spear pull, it could still be alive for a little while. A lot of it comes down to what happens to it afterwards, and maybe I didn't do as good of a job as I should have. Obviously, you know, I mean, there's a chance that it was already dead. There's a chance it could have maybe made it had I cared for it better. You know, afterwards I tried to wrap it with burlap. I put a trash bag over it a few times when it rained. Then once, you know, it started warming up a bit, I didn't do that. Maybe I should have continued doing that. but you got to care for the palm after it gets damaged. You may think it's a goner. You may think the worst of it's already happened. I'll just leave it. Definitely care for it. If it's still cold weather, wrap it, protect it. It's never too late to protect it. And just care for that palm. And yeah, that's kind of what I've learned, but not a pretty sight. I'm gonna have to rip this out, but I just thought I'd share that with you, because obviously I've been keeping you guys updated on this palm's journey for a number of years now, at least a year and a half, I guess, since the beginning of my channel. I've had it. So yeah, very painful sight to see, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't know what to say. It's what happens a lot, but you know, you'll lose palms in the journey in colder climates, even in warmer climates, but it's still doesn't make it any better. All right, folks, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. I guess not maybe the most enjoyable video, but I thought it was, definitely some valuable lessons learned about growing hardy palms generally, and just growing Chamaerops next time if I try it. I would love to try a Cerifera, maybe even try green form again in a more sheltered spot, obviously with protection. And that's something that I definitely need to learn a lot about, because I've never protected my palms, and I'm gonna need to invest in that if I try some more tender species. So take care, folks. I hope you guys have a good one, and yeah, like and subscribe if you enjoyed.